Most of you who have been following along with my channel know how much I love cultural fusion. This video, however, is not that. We'll be making gyudon today, which is a type of Japanese rice bowl. Gyudon in particular is made with beef, and we'll be preparing it fairly traditionally. The beef is simmered with onions in a sweet, savory sauce that's loaded with classic Japanese flavors. It can be customized to your liking by topping your bowl with an egg, sprinkling with some spicy togarashi, or by getting as saucy as your heart desires. But enough talking and more cooking. Let's make this one, shall we? Gyudon is part of the larger family of Japanese donburi, or rice bowl. And rice bowls start with, well, rice. I'm using a rice cooker, so after I've washed my rice thoroughly, I'm adding equal parts water, squirting with a little oil, and pushing a button. Which I probably didn't need to record, as if I were demonstrating how to operate a cold fusion reactor, but there you have it. Now that our rice is out of the way, we can focus on our beef. I'm using chuck roast here, a cheap cut that fits our Bodega budget without skimping on flavor. We need thin slices for our gyudon though, so I'm throwing this in the freezer for about 30 minutes to firm up, so that it's easier to work with. You can also use pre-packaged shaved steak that's sold for sandwiches, or even ask your local butcher to do the cutting for you. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but if he isn't, you may never be able to step foot in that store again from the embarrassment. So, your call on whether that's a gamble you want to take. While our steak cools, let's get our sauce together. I'm slicing 2 whole onions pole to pole by chopping the ends off and cutting longitudinally along the fibers. I'm also finely grating 2 decent sized chunks of ginger, which is in fact an official unit of measurement. We'll call it a tablespoon, if you insist. But regardless, that just about covers the prep that we need to do for this dish. I'm sauteing my onions over medium heat in some leftover bacon fat, because I had some, because I can, and because I have no regard for my heart. Which unfortunately sounds like the kind of embarrassingly angsty thing that I'd write in my journal after a bad breakup. The bacon fat here might not be traditional, but I think few would object to the flavor it'll contribute. Once these onions have softened a bit, I'm adding the ginger and sauteing for about 30 seconds before deglazing with alcohol. I'm using half a cup of dry sake here, but you can substitute for mirin as well, since that's commonly available in most supermarkets. Once the smell of the alcohol has cooked off, I'm also adding soy sauce and dashi. I'm using homemade dashi here, which I've promised to show off in a later video for a good friend of mine, so be sure to subscribe for that. Still, Hondashi brand instant granules work just fine too. I'm also using a combination of dark and light soy sauce here to deepen the color and make my sauce a little richer. The real richness, however, will come from the most non-traditional ingredient of all, a tablespoon of beef bouillon paste. With that, this affair is about to get real salty, which also sounds like me after a bad breakup, but our plain, unsalted rice will soak that sauce up and balance it all quite nicely. I'm also adding about a tablespoon's worth of sugar, which you can clearly tell that I almost forgot judging by the presence of the beef in the pan. As you can see, I'm using simple syrup from my bar because it was convenient to grab, but regular sugar will dissolve quickly in the heat. Be sure to adjust the sugar though if you're using sweetened mirin instead of sake. Stir to let those flavors combine and bring the sauce to a simmer before adding your beef. This will only need about 5 minutes to cook through, so in the meantime, we'll prepare our toppings. I'm slicing some green onion on the bias, as well as separating an egg yolk to put on top. This is fairly common in Japan, though lightly poaching or even frying your egg wouldn't be a bad idea if doing it raw makes you a little squeamish. I'm also using shichimi togarashi, a 7-spice blend that I used in my butter rice, which you can check out in the link above. This spice mix contains different types of pepper, as well as ginger, sesame seeds, and citrus peel. It'll give a nice peppery kick to cut through all this richness. But with that, we're ready to serve. As you can see here, my onions cooked down a bit too much, as I was a little busy clearing out storage on my phone in a total panic to make sure that this footage would save. But thanks to my brother, I'm now on an upgraded family plan, and I've got a clean slate, from a data perspective anyway. In the absence of any technological emergencies on your end though, your onions should be better off, retaining more of their structure and crunch in the final dish. We're forging onwards anyway, plating up some steaming hot rice and piling the beef high. Drizzle some of that unctuous sauce over it, or fully drown your bowl if you prefer. I certainly won't stop you. Carefully crown your donburi with its egg yolk, sprinkle with some green onion and togarashi, and dig in. I'll be honest, this wasn't originally a video on my list to make until I tried it out for myself and decided I was honor bound to share this experiment with you. As much as I love overcomplicating things, I always find myself blown away by how delicious simplicity can be. This recipe was adapted from the iconic J. Kenji Lopez alt, who's one of my biggest influences in the kitchen. So, if you're watching Kenji, your approval would only mean the world to me. So, no big deal, no pressure or anything, just saying. Seriously though, the beef is tender, the sauce is meaty and savory with a touch of sweetness, and the rice is the perfect vehicle to deliver more of that delicious sauce. The egg yolk makes it all decadently rich, with the tingly heat of the togarashi to cut through it all and lend some spice to the plate. This is so good that I think I'm just going to ditch the chopsticks and give in to my gluttonous nature. Something about 2 wooden sticks just interferes with my efficiency in shoveling unreasonable amounts of food down the hatch. But it doesn't matter, because this sauce is even good enough to just drink straight. Before this gets too weird though, I think I'm just going to go be alone in the other room. Be sure to make this gyudon for yourself, and you too may have to excuse yourself from polite company because of the uncomfortable things you'll do to this bowl.